Continuing with our applications of percent, we want to look at percent increase and decrease and discount. Here's our first problem. A computer programmer's yearly income of $27,000 is increased by 8%. What is the dollar amount of the increase and what is their new salary? So the first thing we want to know is this. What is 8% of 27,000? That's the first thing that we want to know. So we translate n equals 0.08 times 27,000. Now when I do that, I multiply 0.08 times 27,000, I end up with a dollar amount of $2,160. Now that $2,160, that is the dollar amount of her increase. Now we're going to stay with this problem for a minute. That's the dollar amount of the increase, and now what we want to know is what is her new salary. So her new salary will be her old salary, $27,000, plus this increase that she got of 8%. So $27,000 plus $2,160. I'll add those up, and 7, 8, 9. So her new salary will be $29,160. So what we have is this. A programmer is making $27,000. They get an 8% increase. That 8% increase turns out to be a dollar amount of $2,160. That puts her new salary at her old salary, $27,000, plus the amount of the increase, $2,160. We end up with $29,160. Here's another example. In 1 year, a new car decreased in value 20%. If it sold for $16,500 when it was new, what was it worth after 1 year? So what I want to know first of all is what is 20% of $16,500, and that will tell me the amount, the dollar amount of the decrease in value of this. So what number is 20% of 16,500? So the first thing I want to do is find that. Translating, n equals 0.20 times 16,500. Now if I do that arithmetic, I'll end up with, let's see, 16,500 times 0.2 is equal to 3,300. So n is equal to 3,300. So that's the dollar amount of the decrease in value of this car because it decreased in value 20%, and 20% of 16,500 is $3,300. Now what we want to do is find the value of the car after 1 year, so I'll subtract this 3,300 from 16,500. So 16,500 minus 3,300, I end up with 0, 0, 3 from 5 is 2, 3 from 6 is 3, and then I have a 1 here. So 13,200, that's the new value of this car. And you see the value of the car after 1 year is 20% less than the value of the car originally, 16,500. Now another way to do this problem, if we just wanted to find the value of the car after 1 year, would be to take 80% of this, because if it decreases in value 20%, then it's only worth 80% of what it was. Here's our next problem. For problem 3, we have a person earning $1,500 a month gets a raise of $120 per month. What is the percent increase in salary? So what I want to know is what percent of $1,500 is this $120? So 120 is what percent of 1,500? So that's the question. Here's my translation. 120 equal what percent times 1,500. To solve this equation, I divide both sides by 1,500. These will divide out, and I'll have just n is equal to 120 divided by 1,500. If I do that arithmetic, I end up with 0. Let's see, I already did it here, 0.08, and so I end up with 8%. So if a person earning $1,500 a month gets a $120 per month raise, then the percent increase in their salary is 8%. And I find that by asking this question. 120 is what percent of 1,500? That translates into an equation that I solve. My answer is 0.08, and I remember that I'm looking for a percent, so I write my answer as 8%. Let's look at another problem. Problem 4, shoes that usually sell for $25 are on sale for $20. What is the percent decrease in price? So if they normally sell for $25 and now they're on sale for $20, then they decreased in price $5. So what I want to know is this. $5 is what percent of, and when I do percent decrease, I have to go with my original price, which is $25. So 5 is what percent of 25. Translating, I have 5 equals n times 25. Divide both sides by 25, and I end up with n is equal to 5 divided by 25, because these divided out. 5 divided by 25 is 1/5, and that's going to be 20% when I change to a percent. So if a pair of shoes normally sells for $25 and they're on sale for $20, then they decreased in price $5. That's the discount. So then I want to know what percent of the original price is that. So I say 5 is what percent of 25. When I do that, I get an equation, translate the equation, or I get the equation, solve the equation, I get 5 over 25, that's 1/5. 1/5 as a percent turns out to be 20%.